Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty show and our freaky Monday mock draft Monday we got going on. We're gonna hit up a full 3 rounds of an NFL draft if it lets us go that far. It's the first time I'm gonna be trying the mock draft simulator on Football Network. I know it does first rounds. I haven't tried all 3 rounds, but wouldn't mind getting into some of the running backs that happen to get drafted or that we likely feel will be drafted in rounds 2 and 3. Give you an idea of some of the wide receivers and tight ends as well as the quarterbacks. So, for those of you who haven't really studied, it's time to get ready because it's only 100 days away. That's right. The 2025 NFL draft is just 100 days away, live at Lambeau Field. We will be hitting it up. Hopefully, Birdhouse Show will be there for you. And so, in order to get prepped for that, this wild card Monday, as we have the Vikings and Rams finishing up wild card weekend. The Rams are taking it to the Vikings in Arizona as the fires in LA are still going. And so the Rams were unable to play at home, fortunately. And so we wish the best to all out in LA. Thoughts and prayers. Yeah, I hate that phrase, but in this instance, we definitely do need those for them. So it was a rough night last night down in Tampa, but like I said, we move on, and the NFL draft is just 100 days away. So why don't we get rolling? Everybody knows about Ash and Genty, but who else is in the NFL draft coming up here, right? You may have heard that it's loaded at running back, but yet who else is out there? So let's get fired up. We're going to go right over to the mock draft simulator, Pro Football Network. Here we go. Let's bring it up for you. There you go. You guys can check it out on your own as well. It's right there on Pro Football Network. Um, Now I can select to be all of the teams, which is what I'm going to do. And this is a learning experience for me as well because I simply don't know all of the players. I know a lot of the skill position players, but not quite all of the other positions. So this should be fun. Let's get rolling here. We are going to be doing mock drafts every Monday leading up to the NFL draft here on the Birdhouse Dynasty show. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we would like to. Tuesdays will probably be a topic night, and then Thursdays a trade show. So that'll be the off-season schedule in the Birdhouse here for you. So lots coming up this off-season. Now, of course, we still have the playoffs to finish up, and it's still quite an opportunity to make some deals. So, you know, keep those guys that are playing in the playoffs in mind, whether their value rises or drops, and whether you feel that's a good time to buy or sell those. We'll be talking about them for the remainder of the playoffs, and that'll be part of the topic show tomorrow night. Is the players that you can buy and sell based on their performances from this past weekend. So let's get this thing rolling. We've selected every team here. We're going to do 30 rounds. I've got draft speed at fast. So let's join. No, I want to join the room. Let's enter solo draft. All right. There we go. So Titans are up top on the board, and we all know that Will Levis struggled this past season, and now Callahan has the quarterback guru with Joe Burrow there in Cincinnati. I'm sure he wants a real quarterback, not Will Levis anymore. And so I think we're gonna go quarterback here just for fun. I'm gonna do a draft. Like I said, we're doing this every Monday. So this first run at it here, we're gonna do a draft that I feel would be fun draft slots for everybody. And that means the skill positions are going to go to places that I like. And so we're going to start right off with Cam Ward here. I think he's going to test well, and that the Titans fan base can get excited about a new quarterback there. Will Levis just, you know, he had a rough go at it, but I mean, and unlike the past, quarterbacks don't get to have 3 or 4 years to show what they've got, and I think the time is up for Will Levis. So Cam Ward is the pick in for the Titans. All right, next up we've got the Cleveland Browns, and yes, they could be looking quarterback, but I'm thinking that they may go after Kirk Cousins in the offseason to reunite with Stefanski as maybe sort of a bridge quarterback, but maybe somebody that they want to win now with. I think they're going to make a lot of moves. They got a lot of picks early on. In the first 3 rounds, I believe they have 6 picks. So now Cleveland could trade down from this spot to somebody who wants a quarterback like Shadur Sanders. Um, but in this one, we're going to just make the pick for them, and we're going to go with Travis Hunter here. This would definitely excite the Browns fan base and give them something to look forward to. Now, next up here is the Giants, and I think this is quite an interesting pick here because we don't know who their quarterback will be. We know who their top receiver is. So the Giants have a lot of needs, and as you can see on the board here, it says their needs are quarterback, offensive guard, wide receiver, tight end, running back. So basically, yeah, the whole offense could use something. So does that mean that we go Shadir Sanders here to New York, or does he fall further? I don't think so. Here we want to have some excitement. Shadir Sanders lighting it up with Malik Neighbors. That is something to get excited about for sure. I think if these were the draft spots, I could see, Cam Ward and Shadur going in the top 4 of our rookie drafts, at least top 5, as these two would be the top quarterbacks. Now, Travis Hunter, of course, is his Heisman season, played both cornerback and wide receiver. So the main thing with him is, where does he play? Or actually, I should say, how often does he play wide receiver is really what we're looking at. Because, I mean, even in IDP leagues, cornerbacks don't get many, the good cornerbacks don't get many opportunities to make plays. So, he's going to have a limited amount of tackles, not many interceptions. So I don't want to hear this about, IDP, he's going to score a point. No, he's not really going to score that many extra points. It is for all of you who play any kind of IDP leagues, you know that the top corners are not the guys that you want. You want playmaker safeties, and actually the corners on the opposite side of the field of the dominant safeties. Next up, we've got the New England Patriots, and Mike Vrabel was just put in as head coach today, early this morning. So that's something exciting for the Patriots fan base. And now I know I thumbnailed him, and I would love to see Ted McMillan get a quarterback like Drake May. But in all reality, with Mike Vrabel being instituted as head coach, I think these guys are going to go defense first. So let's take the top defensive player in the draft. That would be Abdul Carter. He's going to go to New England there. All right. And number 4. So they could go tackle. I could easily see them going offense, but we're just going to go defense because I think with Mike Vrabel going there, he's going to want playmaker to anchor that defense. And so there's Abdul Carter. Now we've got the Jaguars, and the Jaguars, let's see if they need help all over the offensive line. Cornerback, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. Now I don't buy the need at wide receiver there. I like BTJ, Parker Washington, Christian Kirk should be back, maybe not, but I mean they're fine at wide receiver. We don't need to look that way. Um, they're not going to go running back, so Genti is not in the mix here, but they definitely could use a tackle. So let's slide down the board here, and we're going to take, yes, Kelvin Banks. I don't know why he's so far down. He definitely is going to be at least a top 10 pick, and we're going to go with him for the Jags. Now, the Raiders are up here at 6, and this is an interesting call because the Raiders have all sorts of needs on offense at the skill positions. So, but you got to start with the quarterback. And so, oh man, that would be so exciting here. But yeah, if you don't have anybody to throw him the ball, it doesn't really matter. So I think that we're going to be looking at Jackson Dart here to the Raiders. I think he's going to really move up the boards. He's been in a very good system there at Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, and he's going to show at the combine, which is just 6 weeks away. So put that down on your calendars. Just a couple weeks after the Super Bowl, boom, we get the combine. Then 2 weeks later, boom, we get free agency period opening up, and middle of March then is when the free agents can start signing. So we got a lot of action coming up here real quick. So this is the time to start to get to know these names so that you're not behind things. All right. Next up is the Jets. And so definitely, come on, let me slide down here. What's the deal? All right. We'll see if it slides down with the this moves. Okay, so the Jets need a quarterback, of course, because we don't know if Rodgers is going to stay or come back. Let's assume that Rodgers is coming back. And so if he's coming back, their needs are tackle, cornerback, safety, and tight end. And so we're going to look at tackle here. Want to try and, there we go. We're going to look at the tackles, and we're going to go Will Campbell out of LSU. All right. Next up, there we go. All right. Next up is the Carolina Panthers. And their needs, I know they need help on defense. So let's slide up here and look at the top defensive players. You got Mason Graham there, Kel Williams, Malachi Starks from Georgia, and Will Johnson, the best corner in the draft. And so I think we're going to go corner because the Panthers are in a division. A lot of good receivers in Atlanta, Tampa, and New Orleans with Olave and Shaheed. So, yeah, we're going to go Will Johnson, who's the best true corner in the draft. Of course, Travis Hunter went number 2 to Cleveland. He's the best athlete in the draft, but we're going Will Johnson there, shutdown corner from Michigan. All right. Next up, we've got the Saints, and the Saints have, yeah, which I love to say this, but the Saints have needs everywhere. You can look at any position for the Saints. And so we're just going to go top player on the board here, and that would be Mason Graham from Michigan. And there we go. Now the Bears. All right. Yeah, the Bears offensively looking pretty good. You know, they could use a wide receiver since the likelihood is that Keenan Allen will go elsewhere. But we're gonna go, yeah. They can use an edge rusher to help that defense get after those offenses in the division they're in. Now, we still don't know who the Bears are going to get at as their head coach. I know they were going to want to go after Ben Johnson, but he can't interview yet. Mike McCarthy is out there. I think those are the two main options that they're looking at. You know, McCarthy was said that they said that they're parting ways for sure in Dallas. So we'll see who Jerry decides to go with down there, and not necessarily just go with he has to lure somebody in. I mean, prime time would be a hell of a move. That would be a total Jerry Jones move, but I don't know about that one. I mean, you got to think he's going to go after wherever his kid goes, but who knows where Shadur ends up getting drafted. He went to the Giants in this one, but yeah, I don't know. All right. So anyway, next up is the Niners, and we know the Niners historically love their defensive linemen in the first round, and we're staring at a couple right here. Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, James Pierce from Tennessee. CD tackle. Where's the next one from a guy from Oregon and Ohio State? It's like the edge rushers are the top guys, other than, of course, Genty and McMillan. So we're gonna go defense with the Niners. And we're gonna go with Nick Scorton from A&M. There we go. All right. Next up is the Cowboys, and we have no idea who their coach is, but we know Jerry Jones loves to make a splash, and I think we're gonna make a splash here with the next pick. And that is going to be Ashton Genty going number 12 to the Cowboys, solidifying himself as the 101 in all of our rookie drafts. Yes. So interesting how we've got the Niners and Cowboys back to back at picks 11 and 12. My, how the mighty have fallen. All right. Next up is the Dolphins. And, you know, if Tyreek leaves, could McMillan go there? Possibly. Man, he's falling in this one. I mean, after the Patriots, it's just hard to see who's going to actually take him up top in the draft. So, like, you know, the Panthers would have been a good spot, but they needed help defensively more so than a wide receiver. They could grab one in round 2 or 3. You know, the Raiders are a good spot too. Maybe the Jets if Rodgers stays, but then, you know, you got to figure Adams is staying. So we went with that scenario. So the Dolphins needs are, according to Pro Football Network, guard, tackle, defensive tackle, that is safety, um, offensive tackle, and edge rusher. So I think we'll just go best player available for them. And well, that would be Ted McMillan. I think we're gonna go Malachi Starks from Georgia here. Yeah, they could definitely use a safety. And then next up is the Colts, and one of their main needs at least is tight end. And I think we're gonna snag the first tight end here, Tyler Warren to the Colts. That is I could see Warren or Loveland going there. Who knows how well Harold Fannin will test, but he is a freak and he put up just monster numbers this year at Bowling Green. So keep an eye on Harold Fannin and how he does at the combine. That will be something to watch. Combine could definitely bump his stock up into a first rounder at tight end there. All right. Next up is the Falcons, and they need all sorts of help on defense. Look at that corner, edge, safety. So just about anywhere on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll go ahead and take James Pierce here, the edge from Tennessee, help their defense out. The Cardinals now are interesting. If this were to happen, man, we could have a Ted McMillan, Marvin Harrison tandem. That's just too exciting and juicy to pass up. We're going to go ahead and do that. Ted McMillan gets to stay home in Arizona. Ballsy. Wow. That's a monster. I love Ted. I've had him ahead of Genty since I had my dynasty rankings up on my Patreon at patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Check it out. I get those rankings updated this week, um, following some of the college playoff games last week and into the NFL playoffs. So we haven't had a chance quite yet to update those rankings, but I'll get those updated this week. Stay patient, my friends. All right. Next up, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals have an interesting offseason coming up with T. Higgins and his contract being up. And so they're going to have to decide whether they're going to shell out the big dough for T. Higgins to keep the trio together or look elsewhere. And so Luther Burden would be a perfect replacement. He's not Ted McMillan. Ted McMillan is much more like a one for one trade for T. Higgins, but I don't think we're going to go tight end or wide receiver for these guys. Let's look at it says I need a center, but there aren't any that high. Um, hmm, let's see here. Let's go back over here. Yeah, they don't have a center till way down. See what they've got going on the defensive side here. If it lets me move up, there we go. All right, who's the top defensive player? Siobhan Rebel from East Carolina. All right, we'll go ahead. Um, yeah, we'll go ahead and take him for the Bengals. Next up is the Seahawks, who let their offensive coordinator go. I mean, they struggled down the stretch, and so I was surprised. Honestly, they let Grubb go. But that's That's the way the NFL works. So we're gonna grab the next tackle off the board here. Help that O line out. I think they're gonna keep Gino in the mix for one more year. So that's where we're gonna lean there. Next up is my Buccaneers, and we definitely need some edge rushers or linebackers. We're gonna take Jalen Walker from Georgia. There we go. Could definitely use safety too. But yeah, we're gonna go linebacker here, Jalen Walker from the Georgia Bulldogs. Never can really go wrong with a Bulldog defensive player. All right, next up is the Broncos, and I think this is the ideal spot for a wide receiver to go to help out Bo Nix. As we all saw on Saturday, they just didn't have the firepower against the Bills. So if they're gonna make the playoffs again next year, now Denver kind of skipped a step here by getting into the playoffs already this past season. I don't know that they actually were a top 7 team in the AFC. You had the Bengals who missed out because they started off slow. So the funny thing is the Broncos could improve next season, but then not even make the playoffs. But I think we're going to help them out on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to grab Luther Burden for them. He should fit in nicely with Cortland Sutton and Devont Bailey and make a nice trio there for Bo Nix. Burden, somebody who could learn a bunch his rookie season, and I don't know that he'll be a top 25 receiver his rookie year, but at least by year 2 for sure. He's a good possession slot type receiver. He had been the receiver 1 in the class, but then Ted McMillan just blew up at the beginning of the year and sort of separated himself. And now Burden has kind of slid down into the area, which is going to be like the back end of the first for our rookie drafts. Same with Emeka Ibuka, who also here would be somebody that the Steelers would definitely be eyeing up. Their needs are quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver, tackle, and guard. So they need a lot of help on the O line, as usual. Steelers tend to just kind of let it go on the offensive line and wait. And they usually go later with their wide receivers as well. So we're going to go ahead and grab Ben Morrison here. He's got Steeler written all over him. You'll see in the national championship game, I'm sure he'll be busy. And against those Ohio State receivers, like Buka, one of them included. So next up, anyway, we've got the LA Rams, who will have their first. No, last year they took Jared Verse in the first round, which definitely worked out. And now this year they need linebacker, corner, tackle, wide receiver, or cornerback. So wide receiver, I don't think we want to do that. They need tackle. Who's the next best tackle here? There, Josh Simmons from Ohio State. I think that's a good move. We'll grab him for the Rams. Next up is the Chargers, and the Chargers show corner, D tackle, center, wide receiver, and running back. And so for the Chargers here, oof, Marion Hampton just staring at him. And then you've got Colston Loveland and Igbuka. Oh, those are all nice picks. Man. We're gonna make this interesting. We're gonna go Hampton to the Chargers. He would be just an excellent fit in the Harbaugh Greg Roman system. I don't expect Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins to be back next season. I think it's time the Chargers get their main guy and they grab Omari and Hampton here in the first. Next up is the Packers. Packers needs show corner, D tackle, center, running back, and running back. So they're really saying that they need a running back. Okay, but the Packers have Josh Jacobs. So I highly question this, at least in that. It just seems odd. Okay. Um, and they did grab a running back last year too. So anyway, we've got a D tackle from Oregon. That seems like more like a Packer pick. You'd either get a D tackle or a corner, but we've got this draft's loaded at D tackle, and we're just going to take the top one off the board, Derek Harmon there. Next up, I'm sure these D tackle rankings will fluctuate based on because they're all kind of um, mixed as you get to the mid to late first round, and so I'm sure the combine will definitely separate them much better. Next up, though, we've got the Texans who also need a tackle, corner, wide receiver, running back, and linebacker. So on the offensive side, you've got Buka would be a juicy pick. And I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm sure the Commanders would love him, but we're gonna snag Buka on the Commanders just because I am a little upset at them for beating my Bucks last night. So we're gonna do that. Now the Commanders are left with either Trey Harris at wide receiver. They need corner, tight end, linebacker, or running back. Um, hmm. I think their biggest need is either corner or wide receiver here. Wide receiver, we got Trey Harris, Restrepo, Amora. Hmm. Oh, I really like Trey Harris, and I think we're going to go that route. Yes, Trey Harris to the Commanders. So back to back wide receivers there. That'll probably be it for wide receivers in the first round. And then we've got Baltimore up next here. So the Ravens are pretty loaded roster. It's hard to find any holes on the Ravens. Now this one's showing that they could use tackle, corner, guard, linebacker, wide receiver. So of course they could use wide receiver, but I think we're gonna pass on that. So let's look at the linemen here for the Ravens. Of course, if you know Derrick Henry returns, which he signed a 2-year deal, so I don't see him going anywhere. Um, let's look at here we go. We got a guard from Alabama, a tackle from Arizona. Let's go with the guard from Alabama to Baltimore. And then next up is the Vikings. We're getting smoked here tonight. They're showing they could use a quarterback. Yeah, I don't think so. What is going on with this? Why would they say they need a quarterback? Anyway, we'll pass on quarterback, but cornerback, safety, guard, or running back. So let's look at the defense here. We got Nick Emenwara, D tackle from Ohio State, D tackle from Ole Miss, safety from Texas. We'll go with the dude from South Carolina here, the safety. The Bills then are up next, and I'll have them take the. Let's look at offense one more time here. Yeah, they don't really need a tight end. We got the 2 tight ends here who could go in the first round. Um, Strepro is somebody I love, but we're gonna go We're gonna go defense for the Bills. You're gonna grab safety, Jade Barron from Texas, solid player, very solid. Now the Eagles are up, and we know the Eagles' MO for guys in the trenches, and I don't know what their whole situation is contract wise with the guys on defense, but and I don't see any Georgia defensive players here, but there is an Ohio State dude, D tackle, and so we're gonna take Tyleek Williams, D tackle from Ohio State. I'm sure you'll hear his name in the championship game next week. So pay attention for that. That college championship is next week, Monday, which will be right after the divisional round of the NFL. So we got some 3 straight days of great games of football for you to check out. Next up, we have the Chiefs. They have penciled in as the 31st pick here. And so they have their needs as D tackle, guard, wide receiver, safety, and tight end. So Loveland, I have falling in this one. I don't see them taking a tight end right here unless Kelsey retires. So um, let's go back to the well here, and Walter Nolan from Ole Miss be another D tackle taken. And then finally, to finish off the first round, we've got the Detroit Lions needing an edge, corner, D tackle, wide receiver, and safety. So you got Xavier Watts at safety there. Shamar Stewart, edge from Texas A&M. Let's go with hmm, 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 hmm. See on the offensive side of the ball here. Oh, Loveland would be the hometown pick, but with with Laporta sitting there, I don't think we're gonna go with the tight end. So let's go back to defense here. They can use a corner. We'll take the corner from Ole Miss. All right. There. Now we're back up top with the Browns. So the Browns took we had the Browns take Travis Hunter at the beginning of the draft. So that was their wide receiver. And then they could use a running back, cornerback, or quarterback. So if we're looking at quarterbacks, you're looking at possibly Jalen Milrow. They still have Hendon Hooker there, so I don't think that's the route we want to go. Running back, this seems a little high. Um, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I was thinking this was Detroit. I don't mean Hendon Hooker. Um, but the Browns, yes, Browns could be a spot for Milrow or Quinn Ewers. Hmm. We're gonna go Jalen Milrow to the Browns. There we go. Next up is the Giants. And so the Giants took Shadir Sanders heading to New York. We definitely don't need a corner. So how about offensive guard? Matt Wyatt Millum from West Virginia, who's on top at wide receiver. Strepo would actually be a great fit. And then you have like Manora. It's a big body. Um, and they just took Theo Johnson. Let's give them Restrepo. Make it get exciting there for the Giants. Then next up, we've got the Titans. The Titans grabbing Uh, Cam Ward up top. And so we're going to give him a wide receiver. They've got Ridley, but he's older. So let's give them a wide receiver. I like Aim Nora. He's been coming on lately. So we'll go with him heading to the Titans. So three straight wide receivers going. Now, Caleb Johnson is the top running back available. I don't think Jacksonville goes that way. Let's see here. Jacksonville, we had take the tackle from Texas to start with. So they could use another lineman, a corner, D tackle, a wide receiver, huh? Hmm. Yeah, we'll give him. There we go. So Jacksonville shoring up that O line there. And Pats took Abdul Carter in the first round. So I think here's where we go Isaiah Bond or Matthew Golden. We're going to go Colson Loveland just falling. Isaiah Bond, we're going to have go there. Now the Jets needs, we got tackle, corner, safety, or tight end. Here's where Xavier Watts can go. Actually, nah, with Loveland still there, we're gonna go with Loveland. I mean, they got Conklin. I don't know why they need a tight end. Yeah, let's go with Xavier Watts to the Jets. There we go. So the Jets grabbed a tackle and Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. Next up is the Raiders, who went Jackson Dart in the first. Now they're sitting on needing a running back, wide receiver, safety, or D tackle. And if you're looking overall, they already have Brock Bowers and Michael Mayer. They don't need another tight end. Top player on the board is an offensive tackle. It's probably where they would trade down. But they do need a running back. And so, of course, we've got Caleb Johnson sitting there from Iowa. We're going to grab him, take over the backfield. Oops. I already picked for the Saints tackle. Well, that's fine. The Saints can use just about everything. So we got D tackle and offensive tackle there. So they're getting wild in the trenches. Then we got the Bears with back-to-back picks here. Now the Bears took an edge rusher in the first. I think we go. I don't know what Cole Kmet's contract situation is, but here's a perfect opportunity for them to help out their quarterback. And so we're going to grab the tackle from Arizona and then grab the guard from Ohio State. This will help shore up their O line for years to come for Caleb Williams, sorry. Then next up is the Niners, and the Niners are showing corner. Who did we grab for the Niners? An edge rusher. The first. So corner, guard, tackle, edge, linebacker. Mm, This is so hard trying to do for these. They could use a linebacker too. We'll go with Jaheed Campbell there. That's a solid pick from Alabama for them. Next up is the Cowboys, and they took Ashton Genty in the first, so there was their splash. Next up, we're gonna grab edge rusher from Arkansas. Jerry Jones is calling. Here we go. This will help them out immensely on the defensive side of the ball. There we go. All right, now we're back to the Colts. They went tight end of the first, Tyler Warren. Now we're still sitting on waiting for Colston Loveland, who's fallen tremendously. All right, so we got the tight end, so safety, linebacker, corner, and center. Linebacker. Where's the linebackers? Oh, Barrett Carter from Clemson. What about safety? Stay. All right, we'll give him Maxwell Harrison from Kentucky. All right. Now the Falcons, we took edge in the first round for them. They can use a corner, edge, or safety, wide receiver, or tight end. Okay. They need a tight end. What about Kyle Pitts? We don't know. This is Pitts' last year now. So do they want to keep him or not? That is the question. Wide receiver. Ooh, Matthew Golden would be nice. Hmm. Hmm. This is a spot for Loveland to go. I think we're gonna grab Loveland here. All right. Now Arizona, they grab Ted McMillan in the first. We need an edge rusher, and there's a couple of them. We'll grab Shamir Stewart for them. The Dolphins are up next, and Dolphins are looking at guard, D tackle, safety, offensive tackle, edge. We're going to grab the D tackle from Michigan for them. Next up is the Bengals, and the Bengals, we took corner for them in the first. Could use wide receiver, tight end, corner, or safety. Got a D tackle from Kentucky there. Offensively, this is a place for Harold Fannin to go. Perfect. Yeah, it's a nice pick for the Bengals. Next up is Seattle, who took a tackle in the first. So that eliminated that need. Now we still need an edge rusher, quarterback, safety. Yeah, we'll go with Princely Uman Milan. Yes, from Ole Miss. Right. Really can't go wrong with an SEC guy. Right. So Denver's back on the clock, and they took Luther Burden in the first round in this mock. So next up, we're going to have them take D tackle. Their defense sort of struggled down the stretch, actually, although they could use a running back too. We're going to go with defense. They took. Yeah, we're going to go defense. He's fallen. So next up is the Steelers. And the Steelers, we had a corner going in the first. Steelers could use, there we go, quarterback, cornerback, wide receiver, tackle, guard. And we had them take corner in the first. So wide receiver, tackle, or guard. Let's see here. Perfect. Tackle out of LSU. There we go. Now the Panthers are up. First round, they took Will Johnson, the shutdown corner. Now, who else is available? There we go. Edge rusher from Ohio State. Perfect. Next up is the Bucks, and we need defense too. So we got linebacker. Kevin Winston from Penn State. Abu. And then the other safety from Penn State, safety from Michigan. We could use any of these dudes, honestly. Um, what about corner? We're gonna take Denzel Burke here. This is a little bit of a stretch according to this, but he's rated higher than that, I know. Right. Then we got the Packers who took D tackle in the first. They can use a corner for sure. Um, got a D tackle from South Carolina who's fallen. We'll go with that route for the Packers. Oh, they took D tackle first round. Yeah, let's go back to cornerback for them. They'll take the other Ohio State corner. Next up is the Chargers. We had to take Omarion Hampton in the first. So then we'll have them grab the D tackle from South Carolina. There we go. Texans went wide receiver with Ibuka to match up with CJ Stroud, both from Ohio State. So that need was met. Now here's where I can totally see another running back going off the board. You've got all the D tackles in that range have been swallowed up. Cornerback, he'd be reaching a little bit offensively. We go here. This is perfect. Take Quinshon Judkins to the Texans there. Next up is Washington. Corner, wide receiver. Would they take Trey Harris in the first? Okay. So let's look at the defensive side here. And let's grab them a cornerback. We'll get them the Georgia corner. All right. Then next up is Baltimore. Baltimore's needs are tackle, corner, guard. Took a guard. So tackle, corner, guard, linebacker, wide receiver. So let's do this here. Would they took the guard from Alabama? All right. They're gonna go with the tackle from Oregon. Sure up their own line. The Bills took safety in the first. They need a corner, edge rusher. There we go. Boston College edge rusher. Perfect. Then so now they've got a safety and an edge rusher shoring up that defense. Now, here's where they took Ray Davis last year. They've got James Cook, so I don't think we're going to draft the running back. Wide receiver, though, would be interesting for the Bills. This would really help whoever's stock here went to the Bills. We're going to go Matthew Golden from Texas to Bills. That'll be interesting. Now the Eagles went D tackle first round. We're probably they need a guard. That's perfect. Georgia guard, Tate Ratledge. There we go. Then we've got the Chiefs, who we had take a D tackle in the first. Their needs D tackle, guard, wide receiver, safety, or tight end. Mason Taylor. Who's top safeties? There we go. Good safety from Penn State. He can go to KC. And then last pick in the second round, the Lions. They took a corner in the first, so we're looking edge rusher, D tackle, wide receiver, safety, and we've got a nice edge rusher, Kyle Kennard from South Carolina. Now we're back to the Giants. So the Giants went Shador and Restrepo. Now I think we need to help out their O line. They could go running back though too here. Just revamp the whole offense. Why not? We'll do Travion Henderson in the third round there to the Giants. Next up is the Chiefs. We got a D tackle safety go. D tackle safety. Let's look guard here. Ooh, not looking good. Let's look wide receiver. We'll go. Ooh, Jalen Royals. I like it. Perfect. All right. He's going to get a bump in his stock there. All right. Then we've got the Browns back on the clock. Now, the Browns, we've already had, let's see, 2 picks. So I guess they only have 3 picks in the first 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. So we had them take Travis Hunter and Jalen Milroe. Pretty exciting draft so far for Cleveland. What are their other needs here? The Browns. Cornerback and wide receiver, tackle, running back, or corner. Tackle, we've got one out of North Dakota State. That'd be kind of a reach. Cornerback, be a little bit of a reach. So let's go back to the well, and that would be running back and Ollie Gordon sitting there. I think he'd be a perfect replacement for Nick Chubb. So we'll go with Ollie Gordon to the Browns. Next up are the Patriots, and we had them take Dual Carter and Isaiah Bond. Pretty exciting draft so far. I think we need to get an offensive lineman here for them, though, to help out. And this seems like a perfect Patriots pick, and that would be a dude from North Dakota State. Yes. There we go. All right. Next up, the Jags, and they've gotten a tackle and a guard so far. So getting good in the trenches. Next, they need corner. And we'll keep Ezra Thomas at home in Florida, at least from FSU. Raiders up now with 2 picks, and the Raiders so far have gone Jackson Dart and Caleb Johnson, needing all sorts of help on the offensive side of the ball. They do need safety and D tackle though as well. So we've got the Texas safety has fallen here. We'll grab him for 1 pick. And then what does D tackle look like? Not so good. Edge rusher, Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. Ooh, that'd be a nice pick, regardless of what they're looking at. Do the Raiders really need a wide receiver? Who's there at wide receiver right now? Mm, Jaden Higgins, Tez Johnson, Kyron Lacey. Ooh, Kyron Lacey's nice. We'll grab him for them. Now the Bears, we've gone edge, tackle, guard. And their needs are edge, guard, D tackle, center, and a wide receiver, they're saying. So center, we're going to wait on that. So we'll grab them a wide receiver. We'll give them Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Here we go. Back to back wide receivers. Panthers also can use a wide receiver, but here they've got their bigger needs at safety, center, corner, edge, quarterback. So we're going to look at safety here to try and shore up their defense. Yeah, we'll take safety from Penn State. Next up is the Saints. Need help everywhere. So let's see who the top player on the board is. Quinn Ewers. Perfect. There you go. Saints get Ewers. All right. Next up, the Niners going defense to start with. And they could use a corner as well. Where are the top running backs there right now? Jenkins. Oh, Rocket Sanders. Yeah, we're going to go. Just don't think. Yeah, you don't want to reach here on this side. So they could use a linebacker. Just took one for him, though. Edge, linebacker. Let's go cornerback. Yeah, there we go. Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. All right, next up is the Cowboys. We got Ashton Genty and an edge rusher. And let's see what wide receivers are there because they could definitely use one. Tez Johnson's exciting, but he's tiny. Ricky White, Torrey Holton. Man, do not love these wide receivers once you get to this range. Oof, it's rough. I see the Cowboys going after one in free agency anyway. Um, who do we have them take with their second pick? Edge rusher. Okay. Well, they do need a linebacker, so let's take the guy from Clemson that's fallen 20 some picks. Right. Next up is the Patriots, who are now on their fourth pick edge, wide receiver, tackle. They do need a corner and safety, so they need secondary help. Let's get them the best secondary guy. Okay, we'll go Will Lee from Texas A&M. There we go. All right, next up is the Cardinals, and the Cardinals were fortunate to get Tet McMillan and Shamir Stewart. Good draft so far for the Cardinals. And we're looking for offensive line help here. Guard. They don't really need a tackle. Overall, I already grabbed one edge rusher. I don't know that I want to double dip on that. Yeah, we'll go Jack Sawyer. There we go. Cardinals getting freaky on the edge rushers. Now, Washington needing wide receiver and corner. They did that. Tight end, linebacker, running back. Mason Taylor is sitting there at tight end. But Danny Stutzman, there we go. We'll go linebacker for the Commanders. Colts, we had corner and tight end. Corner, tight end, safety, linebacker, or center. And there's Rod Moore from Michigan. That looks like a good pick. Bengals, corner and tight end. They need corner, tight end, D tackle, and see the D tackles just got swallowed up. If you don't get a D tackle early on, then you're gonna be missing out. So corner, tight end. All right, we'll find a wide receiver for him. There's Tez Johnson. That'd be a good spot for him actually with Burrow. Tez Johnson put up big numbers, but he's just a little guy. So that's the thing. You got to have an accurate quarterback throwing to him. Seattle with tackle and an edge so far. Could use a quarterback. Could use a safety or a guard. Overall, let's see. Edge. We got three edge rushers here just staring us down. Oof. Who's the top quarterback left? This is definitely somewhere the top quarterback could go. That's Will Howard. Ugh, yuck. Dylan Gabriel could stay close to home. Kyle McCord. Oof. I don't like those guys. Tackle and edge. What about safety? There's still some good safeties left. I don't think there's a guard though. Yeah. We'll go safety for them. Safety from Iowa. There we go. Sebastian Castro. Now we got the Steelers going corner and tackle. They could use a wide receiver and a quarterback and a guard. I just think that Will Howard is a Steeler type pick. There we go. Now the Rams, who didn't have a pick in the second round, took a tackle in the first. So they need linebacker or corner. So let's look defensively here. It's top linebacker, Alabama. Huh? Man, a lot of edge rushers here. We'll give them. Dude from Penn State, Tampa, the corner, linebacker, and edge. So we'll grab another. So yeah, Diaby is from Louisville. We'll give him Ashton Gillote from Louisville as well. Bucks like to pick from certain colleges and stick to it. Denver, again, let's see, wide receiver and D tackle. So they could use an offensive tackle or a running back here. I like them to get a running back just to have fun with it. Ricky White is a wide receiver. We'll go DJ Giddens here. That's perfect. All right. Then the Chargers, we had Omarion Hampton, the big pick there in the first. TJ Sanders, D tackle. Are there any good corners? There we go. Jabbar Muhammad. Yes, from Oregon. All right. Packers, D tackle and corner. Their two biggest needs. Now we got center. And for some reason, they think they're not going to bring back Jacobs, I guess. I don't know. Center, we'll have them take the top center from Georgia. There we go. Houston, I had them take Abuka and Judkins to help out Stroud. Now they do need a D tackle and corner, so let's look defensively what they've got going on here. We'll take the corner from Alabama. And the Saints here. Saints need everything. So again, yeah. Saints have a D tackle, offensive tackle, and a quarterback. So yes, we'll go Josiah Stewart from Michigan, Tylen Booker, and Carly. So they're hit up their offensive line needs. Uh, there we go. Deontay Lawson from Bama to the Ravens, then Jaguars. They went offensive line and then corner, D tackle or wide receiver, huh? Let's see who's there at wide receiver still. Ricky White. Yeah, we'll go him to Jacksonville. Cleveland up. Corner, quarterback. Big names for Cleveland. They could use a trench guy, or I mean a tackle, or corner. We're gonna go with tackle from Georgia there, and they steal him on the on the Eagles. The Eagles need an edge, and I think there's some good edge guys left. There we go, Jared Ivey from Ole Miss. Almost near the end of this third round. Got some supplemental picks coming up. The Chiefs, so far, we've had them take a D tackle, safety, and wide receiver. So they could use a guard. Let's find a guard for them. Yeah, guard from Alabama. There we go. That'll work. Jets, tackle and safety, corner, tight end, or quarterback. Oof. Lots of tight ends have fallen. We'll go Mason Taylor. They need a tight end. That's a good one. All right. Tackle and edge so far for the Rams. So they could use corner or wide receiver. Um, yeah, Torrey Horton. Actually, I like Antoine Wells better. Grab him. Put up big numbers when Trey Harris was out. So we'll go with him. All right. Dolphins are up with two straight picks here, safety and D tackle so far. And their needs are safety and D tackle. They need a guard or tackle or edge rusher. Hmm. There we go. Edge from Texas. And who do they take? D tackle, safety, and edge. So they need a guard. All right, this is a little bit of a stretch for them, but as you can see, drops off 40 picks. So they're going to grab him, Luke Kandra from Cincinnati, and then the Vikings are going to finish this one off for us. And the way they're getting picked apart today, I think we need a corner for them. Yes. So we're going to go Kobe Bryant from Kansas. Here we go. Boom. Dunzo. No, we're not done. We got the Niners. One more pick. Corner, linebacker, and edge. Okay, so then they got we need a lineman. Need a lineman for the Niners. Right. There we go. Blake Miller from Clemson. Boom. All right. There we go. So as you can see, sorry for those of you following along. I hope that wasn't too boring. I think I'm going to narrow it down to the first and second rounds from here on. But we had Genty go to the Cowboys, Omarion Hampton to the Chargers, Ted McMillan to the Cardinals. Quarterbacks, we had Shadur Sanders go to the Giants, Cam Ward to the Browns, Jalen Milroe to the now Milroe went to the Browns, Cam Ward went to the Titans. Okay. Luther Burden to the Broncos. We had Egbuka going to the Texans to match up with CJ Stroud, what would be exciting. So lots of great possibilities here. I hope you were able to follow along. To Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh took the cornerback Morrison from Notre Dame. Hopefully you're still here, Miles. Thanks for checking in. Who else are you interested in, Miles? Pittsburgh, I had them take the corner from Notre Dame, and then trying to remember somebody. I think I had them taking an edge guy in the second. No, that doesn't sound right. I think I had them taking another. I think I had. Let me see here. Yeah, I know I had them take you Will Howard in the third. Um, gosh, where are the Steelers here? Can't find them. There they are. Okay, tackle in the second. Okay. So I think those would meet the Steelers' needs. We don't know what their quarterback situation is going to look like if they're bringing back Russell Wilson or not, but Will Howard would be somebody that I think fits the Steelers' MO. And so, in a quarterback class, it's kind of weak. Will Howard is just kind of a guy. And so I think that the Steelers are kind of stuck in a hard place and they're going to have to keep Russ for next year. As of right now, they could always go after somebody like Cousins. They could go after. I'm trying to think who else is going to be out there. Uh, there's a couple of other options though on the free agent wire for the Steelers to go after. So I think that's what they'd be looking at quarterback wise. I did consider wide receiver for them. I know they like to go after the wide receivers. This one's just, I think Trey Harris would be a good fit for their team. Same with the other dude from Wells from Ole Miss. So there's a couple of decent wide receivers that I could see the Steelers going after. All right. But yeah. If you have any other teams that you're looking at, Miles, go ahead and let me know. Thanks for tuning in today. If you got any questions, just shoot them. You can throw them on my Patreon, patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. You could also buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. Those are ways to get in touch with me while I'm not live. But yeah, anybody else have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to sign this one off. Tomorrow I'm going to be back. We're going to be talking the topic. We're going to be going over some of what happened and transpired this past weekend with the games and maybe some movers in dynasty value from the playoff games. Keep in mind, this is one of the best times to try and ship guys off that, may have that artificial dynasty value that I talked about in my Moneyball series part 1 last week. We're going to be doing part 2 tomorrow. And so that one will be on grading. So be ready with your questions for the Birdman. Other than that, thank you for joining. And remember, never stop working.